Good afternoon, Nkosi Talk Shows family. It's Snopsa here at Nkosi Talk Shows. Find your own voice, lead from within. With me today, I'm with Amanda Murray. How are you, Amanda?
I'm really good. I'm excited to be here and looking forward to our topic.
Awesome, awesome. Um, so the topic today is stepping into the fear and finding yourself. So in this empowering introspective video, we going to explore how facing um, fears can lead to self-discovery and personal growth. So fear is often seen as a barrier, but it can also be um, guided to uncovering the hidden strength and true potential. Amanda, I know it was your idea to actually talk about the fear today. So, what was on your mind when you chose the topic?
Well, actually, I was working when you asked for the topic, I was actually working on reformatting the covers for my book called I Am Fearless, a yoga story for kids and superheroes. And I was like, oh, maybe we should talk about being fearless a little bit because so many times I think things hold us back in our life because we're fearful of them. And I actually wrote a blog entry on our fears as well this month or this last week. And in it, I really talked about like how like stepping into our fears can be really, really empowering. And like, what is it that's holding you back? So like, if you want to like write a book, like, why wouldn't you just like start writing a book? Or is like their fear holding you back that like, oh, I don't have enough education, or I don't have enough this, or I don't have enough that, or whatever it is that's holding you back from starting? And like, what are there, when if you really sit with yourself and ask yourself, what is something I've always wanted to do in my life but I've never done, and what is holding you back from that? And like for me, I know one of the things that I would love to do more of is to travel. And I'm too scared to travel by myself. So that's something that I'm like, okay, I need to find some ways to step into that fear a little bit, because I talk to other women who travel by themselves and who go all over the world by themselves or with their children. And I'm just like, I want to do that. But it's like there's fear holding me back of like flying to Europe because I live in Canada, and like just like backpacking around or whatever. But I'm also like older now too, so I don't want to stay in hostels or anything like that. But there's definitely fear for me in like going to foreign countries and not being able to speak the language and not knowing how to travel well. There's a lot of anxiety around that. And so that's something that I'd like to like explore a little bit more within myself. And so as I was writing the article, I'm like, oh, this is something that because I've written a number of books for kids and some workbooks and different things like that. And that, but I know lots of people who want to write their own story, and yet they don't, because there's fear holding them back from whatever it is that's like getting them to step into that power, right? And so what what is it that you want to learn? So like I was even out for dinner with some girlfriends last night, and one of the girls was like, I moved to Calgary to learn how to ski, and I still have not learned how to ski, and I've lived here for like 10 years. And I'm like, well, just go, like, just like get somebody, like start, buy a set of skis and start. And so for you, Nomza, what's something that you were maybe fearful of, or that within your life that's like held you back for a while, and then when you stepped into that fear, you actually became a better version of yourself? You're muted, Nomza. I can't hear you at all. Still nothing. While Nomza tries to figure out her microphone, maybe I'll just keep talking about fears in general. Just try to fix your microphone, and then we'll come back. You can come back on. I can't hear you at all. Um, so one of the things I also think about, like when I look at like fears in my life that have come up, was one of them was raising a kid on my own, because I was in a really unhealthy, for me, marriage, and I was too, like at the beginning, really, really scared and didn't think that I could raise a child on my own. And when I did step into that power when my daughter was 2, and I left and I bought my own house, and I really have become so much more than I ever thought I could become, because fear was holding me back and keeping me in this unhealthy relationship that I should have left before my daughter was even born, or even before she was even conceived, essentially. And it's interesting how like those fears can like hold you back. And then once you step into that power, that fear, that whatever it is that's scaring you to do, you actually like levels you up, right? And you become this better version of yourself that you never expected you were able to do. And also, I think sometimes life puts hurdles in front of us so that we then can level up. And so, and it's like a challenge for us of whether we're going to learn that lesson or we're not going to learn that lesson, in that we really have these like barriers sometimes put in front of us so that we can overcome them and become a better version of ourselves. But we sometimes get stuck in fear and can get stuck in that space for a really long time. I know too, one of the things that I was really fearful of before was like, am I smart enough to get into my master's degree, or am I smart enough to do this? And when I actually like put myself out there and was able to go to my master's and do it, I actually like I learned so
Can
much,
you
and
hear me now, Amanda?
now I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Okay, I had to change the a different audio. I have to thingy. I kept cutting you off though as I kept testing the audios.
So yeah,
Okay.
I was just asking you, what's some fears that have shown up in your life that really like leveled you up, or something that's holding you back, that now you're like, oh, maybe that's something I need to do a little bit more in my life.
I think for me, basically, I'll just say fear is a powerful emotion, and what it stops us in our tracks. It silences our dreams. It convinces us to stay away in our comfort zone. And for me, I've been there as well. Like Amanda, you are asking, I've been there. Um, like I was like scared of my fear, like stepping out of my comfort zone. The thing that held me back for a very long time is worrying about what people think about my life, and not being able to fit in with people. And the more I do personal development, the more I work on myself, I'm realizing that I don't fit in with people. And when I try to get out of my comfort zone and do the things that I love to do, and people quick, they judge me. So before it will stop me, that fear will stop me moving forward. I'm not trying to fit in, but I'm trying to be liked. I'm trying people to understand where I need to go. But at this moment, I realize actually after lockdown that there is no point in me trying to do that. I think it took me a very, very long time. When I did the challenge with the Matthew Hazy, that's when I realized actually I don't need to fit in anymore. If people like me for me, they will accept me for who I am. But if they don't want to accept me, I don't have to hold my life back. And for that, and it is not an easy thing to do, because the people will judge you and they will let you know what they think of you as a person. They're not holding back. But for me, I sort of trained myself to actually um, just accept people for who they are and not allowing them to stop me going to where I need to be. So I don't know if you have ever been in that situation, because I know you say you like traveling, but like scared of traveling on your own. You got to try my attitude, Amanda, of just go and meet friends, go to the unknown and just, yeah, it's scary, but once you do it a few times, it's good.
Yeah, I think that that's definitely like one of my fears around traveling is definitely like taking my daughter with me. I would think I would be less fearful doing it just like completely by myself, but when you have that other person to take care of and going to like a place that you've never been, there's definitely some anxiety around that I really need to explore a little bit more. So when you decided to like step into your power during the pandemic, what was it that was like really your driving force that like was like, hey, I can learn to be fearless in this area of my life?
I think for me, it was God. Uh, because when I made a decision to actually understand more about my beliefs and just accept me for me, and that drive of looking at my children and telling myself that if I need my children to become who they want to become, I need to be the example, good example of that. And then I made some changes. Was it easy? No, it wasn't. It's easy when you make your changes, but it is the people when you have to miss people, like face people. I don't know how many times people have insulted me, how many times people have told me what they think about me just by following my dreams and becoming the person that I want to become. And some people they're like, I'm full of rubbish and full of crap, and these are family members as well. And I know there's some audiences that are watching, and there are some people who don't want to take their life to the next level because they're scared. I've gone through the bullying myself with people, but I have this attitude of minding my own business. Whatever you say, any negative things that you say, it's not for me, it's not my battle, and it's not coming to me. I'm not listening to it. And I just keep going on and like bettering myself. So I know, Amanda, you are a teacher as well. And you, with the children, you face like children who have fears, like stepping into, like finding themselves. And even for you as a teacher, and being able to write all these books and stuff, what helps you to actually get to that place where you need to be?
I think one of the things too is just like not caring anymore what other times, because I think so often, like you said, like caring what people think sometimes really like will hold you back from what it is that you really want to do. And sometimes like if you said maybe you wanted to start a business or something, and there's other people that are like, why would you want to do that? I know when I started my master's, one of the things my dad said to me was like, are you going to make more money? And I was like, well, no, I'm still going to just teach. And he was like, well, then why are you doing it? And I was like, well, because I want to learn. Like, this is something that I really want to do and I really have a lot of interest in. And yet he just like shut that down completely. But I was in the mindset of like, I don't care what you think. You haven't modeled anything very great for me, so I just really don't care what you think anymore. So I'm going to like step into my own power and do what it is that I want. And I think when anybody decides to like leave a long-term relationship, that's a fear too. It's like, what are people going to think when I get divorced or I leave this relationship or whatever? And really, it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. It matters like how you feel inside and how that relationship is affecting you internally. And so I was saying earlier, maybe when you were cutting out a little bit, was that one of my fears around like being a single mom was that I couldn't raise my daughter on my own, or that I couldn't like, I had no idea what I was doing. And I think sometimes we're fearful of things because we have no idea how to get to the next step. But if we just like start in that direction, we eventually figure it out. Like I had no idea even how to get car insurance. or how to like get my own like the heating and electricity and all of that, like how to set those things up. So like sometimes when we go into our deepest fears, we like learn the most. And I think that's something that's really empowering. Like even Nomza, when you started doing the talk show, like there was probably a lot of fears around that. And then like a lot of learning that came with it too. And so when we learn to be fearless, there's actually like so much growth that we have, which I think is a really empowering, um, and empowering for all of us. But we often don't do it because we just get stuck in this fear of like, oh, what will people think? Or, oh, I'm not good enough. Or, oh, I can't do that yet. Or, oh, I don't have enough background information to be able to do this. Or, but, right? And so what were your fears that were like keeping you stuck? And then like, what was the learning that came out of those fears?
I think just before I started the talk show, I did lives with Des, and I remember going to see him. I'm like, okay, we're gonna talk about business, how he's going to coach me, and how he's going to manage my business and stuff. And then he said, you're gonna have to do Facebook Lives, and I was like, you want me to do Facebook Lives? But I'm paying you to actually teach me, help me to make money. And you're telling what is making money got to do with Facebook Live? And he was like, you are the CEO of the company. People gonna have to see you. Got to be upfront, and people they need to see you. You need to talk about the business. And I was like, what about the writing and posting? Is the same? And he was like, no. But then I was like, okay, I've never done this before, but I'm gonna do it anyway. So I did it. I did Facebook Live, and on my first talk with him, I created the slides, and then I was practicing it, and then I started like panicking, and then I sent him a message, and he was like, "No, sir, cut the phone down. You are panicking. Just practice your talk, and you'll be fine." Me, I had this big story to tell him. And I was like, cut the phone down. So I was like, okay. So then I realized actually I'm scared. But then when he said to cut the phone down, I had to like sit down and ask myself, why am I feeling this way? And I was like, okay, I know what I do with my business. I just need to talk about what I do. If people like me, they like me. If they don't, they don't. So they'll buy my product. So that's the attitude that helped me to actually be where I am today, just wanting to learn. So I started watching people and created the talk show. And the what gave me more confidence is you guys coming into the talk show. I think there was 40 of you that came to the talk show. And just watching people living and learning that people actually they're looking for different things. My dreams is not their dreams. So they're looking for, some of them were not hiding, like they were like, you don't have audience. Us, we just want audience. Like they were looking for fame, some of them, but some of them they just wanted different things. You see people leaving, but you guys stay. And I was like, oh, okay. So there are some people who wants to like who wants to this talk show, who likes the talk show. So just decided, okay, let's do this thing and see where it goes. And you guys are still here today, but now I'm in a point where I'm asking God now that I don't want any miracle, like small miracles anymore. I need a big miracles, because when you have confidence and you are patient, you have to be patient with life. So I'm like, I've been patient enough now, God. So I need my piece of my billionaire slice. Give me slice with my with talk show coaches. Give us a slice what we deserve. So, and I still believe that one day we're gonna wake up in the morning and things will be different. And we're all going to be grateful to each other for standing by each other. That's my belief.
Yeah, I think that's really powerful to be able to say like this. I think anybody who starts something with social media and is able to grow it to whatever, to be an influencer or whatever like that, they all had to start at nothing, right? Everybody started with nothing and slowly grew to where they become like an overnight success. And I always think that's hilarious when people say, oh, they were an overnight success. It's like, no, they weren't. They've been working for like years and years and
Behind
years,
the scenes, yeah.
yeah, to get to where they are, and kept having this like drive within them to continue, right? To continue to grow and to learn and to not, like, imagine if they had been like, oh, I have no audience, I'm never gonna start, right? And then like look at where they end up eventually. And I really loved when I was listening to the Joe Rogan podcast a while ago, and I listened to a number of his, but not all of them, because some of them I can't stand listening to the stone comics that are on there. But there's some really, really intelligent people that he has come on his podcast. And so I vet which ones I listen to. And he was speaking with Dwayne Johnson, like The Rock, right? And they were talking about where they came from and how basically both of them came from nothing, and how they are like very successful in both of their areas. And Dwayne Johnson, actually, I had no idea he actually like lived in Canada and played for the like NFL here. Like he was and he's like, I was a terrible football player. Just like it was so funny. It was so funny listening to them, and then listening to them talk about like their very first car that was like $300 and just like how they got their first car. And I just was like, this is so uplifting, because here's these two like very successful people who literally came from no audience, no nothing, and just kept going. And I just was like, this is so empowering to listen to. And they were very funny. And so I encourage you, if you've never listened to that one, to listen to it. It was from like a year or two ago, I think, but it was like fairly recently after the Hawaii fires, which I think was 2 summers ago. So yeah, it was really, really interesting just to see like where these people came from, when they came from nothing, and now they're very successful in their own areas, and approached it in very different ways on how they got there. And everybody has this story of how they got to the place that they are, right? And they didn't let fear stop them, and they didn't let sucking at something stop them, right? I was really terrible at football, like just so funny. So yeah, those are things that I think are things that sometimes like our fears hold us back, when we like are like, I want to do this, but I don't know where to start. And like one of the things is you just need to start. That's one of the things that I asked when I went to a friend who was a very entrepreneurial friend when I first started. Like, I have all these ideas and I don't know what to do, and I'm teaching and I want to do this. And she's like, well, just start, and start small and just do a little bit, and you never know where it'll take you. And it's taken me lots of different places that I never expected to go, right? Like speaking on here, and writing more books than I ever expected to write, and just, yeah, giving given lots of different opportunities, teaching some workshops and different things, and eventually like teaching a retreat. And there's so many things out there that we really can experience once we start, but we don't even know what those are. And I'm sure even being on, like, starting the talk show has opened up more doors for you that you never would have expected, because you were able to step into that fear. So what are some of the things, like the avenues that you've gone down since starting this, that if you'd been so fearful to not start it, you wouldn't have experienced?
I think there's so many things that I have done since I've started the talk show and just hanging out with you guys. Um, I like Dwayne Johnson's thing that comes from nothing. And then he created a life for himself. And most the people, I think they all come from nothing. And I think like what you said, Amanda, is how we approach life as well. and also how we show up for ourselves as well, and how we see ourselves. And for me, I know that my dad always said to me, I don't get what I deserve in life, I get what I fight for. So there are so many places that, like right now, we're shooting Dating Diamonds. And for me to be part of Dating Diamonds, it was my character. Daisy actually spoke to Unisa. They met one day for coffee, and they started the conversation. And there's because my character, I just listen. When I get told off, this is my coach. When he tells me off, whatever he tells me to do, I will just do it. So apparently he was talking about me and saying that girl, she is so amazing. I love her. She's no trouble. She's just there. When she has problems, she just asks me to sort it out and stuff. She never scream and never do anything. So when Eunice left, Des, and he just went and found me on Facebook. He added me on Facebook, and he messaged me as well, and he was like, okay, and then he had my number, and we started um, in the group. We started hanging out, and through that I've been on television because of recommendation uh, from Des, and I've done so many amazing things. Uh, but if I hold on to my fear, I don't think I will be where I am today. And just believing that, okay, even if I don't know something, and be willing to learn and be willing to listen to people, and just most of all, and just walking in your own lane and understanding your individuality is really, really important. I know some people, they try to fit in with people, they try to be popular for people to like them, but unfortunately, success does not require popularity. People, they will step aside because they think that you are not good enough, and if you follow them, you hold yourself. So you just need to walk in your own lane and just say to yourself, if they follow, they follow. If they don't, they don't. So, and that's why I show up at Ngozi talk shows all the time, because I know one day, for me, people watch this video and they will confirm it with me. I know one day, guys, we will go far with Ngozi talk show. We will. I just believe it. We will go far, and one day we're gonna get up, and then you'll be like, Nomsa, have you seen the Facebook is gone viral, LinkedIn is gone viral, YouTube is gone viral, everywhere is gone viral. I'll be like, no, that's not true. And you'll be like, yeah, go online. That's what I believe. Because I trust our energy, and I trust God as well, that he is preparing something for us, something good, something unique.
Yeah, I think that's really powerful to just like believe, right? And trust. And they talk about manifestation where you like visualize what you really want to feel inside, and not necessarily like if you want a partner to like visualize exactly how you want that partner to be, not a specific person, but like just like this is how I want to feel in a relationship, and this, and like what are your feelings going to be when you achieve that on all your social media, like how elated will you be when that really comes to fruition, right? And so sometimes I think our fears hold us back because we're like, what if, or this is taking way longer than I expected it to take, or anything like that. But if you don't start, then you're never going to get there. And one of the things I think too is sometimes people think like things will come really quickly, right? Like they're just like, oh, this is going to come so fast, and I'm going to be super popular on social media and blah blah blah. And my first book's going to be a New York Times bestseller, and that very rarely happens. And one of my favorite books to read was called Big Magic, and I actually am reading it again, and it's by Elizabeth Gilbert, and she is the one who wrote Eat, Pray, Love. And in the book Big Magic, she talks about how she like worked as like a server and worked different jobs was she was being writing, and she continued to write and write and write, and she never actually quit her like stable job until Eat, Pray, Love took off and to become a full-time writer. And I thought that was so, so powerful, because it was like, if you want to do something and start something, you have to still have like money backing you up and things to pay for your life. And so like start slowly, but continue to do what it is that you love each and every day. And that's going to get you to where you want to go. And even if it doesn't get you that fame that you want, or whatever that is, life isn't about like reaching that goal. Sometimes it's really about the journey along the way and learning to value all of the moments in time as we go along, because there's so much value in the journey and so much learning in that journey, that if we never stepped into our fears and stepped into that what scares us, we wouldn't be able to get there, because we are like, it's not the end goal that is the is really the like gift. It's the journey along the way, I think. And so that's like a mind shift around fears too, is your fear isn't about not achieving your goal. Your fear is around like not getting all the experiences along the way, right? And because that really is what builds your character and builds who you are. And I don't find anyone inspiring that had a really easy life. And not that I think anybody really has a really easy life, but there are people that definitely have had easier lives than others, and I don't find those people very inspiring. I find people who've like overcome hardships and still come out with a smile on their face. Those are the people who are really inspiring in life, right? And so yeah, what is it that like sometimes our fears are those traumas in our life that are like, I can't do that because of this trauma or that trauma. And I'm like, we all have trauma in some different form. And so how can you like overcome that trauma to be able to be like, no, I still can do this. I am good enough. I am capable. I'm able to learn. My brain is like we have neuroplasticity in our brain, so we can really learn anything that we really set our minds to. And no matter what it is, like there's so many books out there on training your mind to be able to like memorize things quickly, or to be able to get better at this area or that area. And I think there's a lot of research out there on how we can really change our lives and empower our lives through stepping into our fears.
I like that, Amanda, and I like it when you say people that come from a hardship, they're the ones that they overcome the fear of finding themselves. I like that thing that you've just used, because it shows that wherever you come from, success is not defined by color or by education or anything. If you believe that I can step into this and do the things that I want to do, I think that's where success comes from. The things that we can tolerate in life. You've written 10 books. Was it easy to write those 10 books? It's nice as when we are actually clapping and say, oh, Amanda, she's a writer. She's written 10 books. But to you, it's like, Nomsa, you have no idea what I've been through writing these books and getting to this journey. We just celebrate. And but that is a beautiful thing, because you are a good example that things can happen. You can be a teacher. I'm glad you didn't even give up your job as well, because your job is the one that motivates you. I listened to one of the YouTube, somebody was doing live, and they said if you want to be organized and you want to write your goals and reach them, hang out with the teacher. So I was like, this guy is actually telling the truth. Honestly, my father was organized. Like he will speak and they will be like he'll like he would talk to me like, tell me this is who you're going to be, like a prophecy, like a prophesizing, like you. If you notice with yourself, every time you would talk about Grant, you always say, one day I will be in those stages. When Grant is traveling, you always say, one day I will be doing this. And one day I'm going to remind you as well when you're in those stages, and I'll be like, now is not one day, now it's like a minute. So, yeah.
What he does is just super inspiring, and I'd love to be able to do more of that. Right now I can't because my daughter's young and still in like well, she's in middle school now, but there's definitely like things that I aspire to too, and I see that in other people, and I'm like, oh, I want to learn how they got there, right? How they get to travel to Bali and go speak. That would be amazing, right? But I'm sure he's had to overcome numerous things to get to that point, right? And he's talked about like being an airline pilot and doing this and doing that and all of the things that he's done to get to where he is. I don't know how old Grant is, but I definitely know he is to my senior, but also like an inspiring one, right? Because he's never let fear hold him back from what he wanted to achieve and to just keep going, right? Oh, you're muted, Nomsa.
You wouldn't think that Grant is a pilot, would you?
Well, yeah, he was. I don't think he still does,
Yeah,
right?
you wouldn't think he was a pilot.
No. No, it's really interesting how people's lives shift, right? When they're like, well, this isn't, but I think sometimes too, we have to be willing to do career changes and step into those fears around that, right? But for me, like I still teach obviously because I need it to pay the bills, but I also think that if I didn't start doing other things, like maybe eventually I will have it, like you said, where like there's lots of money coming in from my books and there's money coming in from speaking or other things. I'm not there yet where I can replace my teaching income, but that's definitely the goal, right? The goal is to be able to have this side income that can replace my full-time job so that I don't have to work full-time, working full-time in that area would be an option, right? And so, but if I never started, I would never be able to get there. And maybe I'll get there and maybe I won't. And that's okay too, right? But I still get to enjoy the journey along the way. And so I really think that we do find ourselves when we step into things that are hard. And when we step into those fears around like not worrying what people will think or how do I get from here to there. There's like really fear holds us back from a lot of things. And I see that in kids all the time where but then too I see it more in adults. Like I feel like kids are less fearless, like are more fearless than we are. Because I think about even when I ask kids to paint, they just like dive in there and they grab the paints and they don't care and they're just like. Whereas adults, it's like so meticulous and they like fret over picking the right color and they fret over like making sure their design's perfect and that like just like painting and art sometimes isn't about being perfect. It's just about like the experience. And you might do an art piece and then just like throw it out after because you don't like it. But like it's really about the process, not about the final product. Whereas adults, it's like always about the final product, it seems. It's not, whereas kids are like, woo, they just like, I literally have to like set paint aside and be like, you can't touch this until, because they would just have it all over the place. But adults aren't like that. They fret over the colors and they fret over their design and they fret, and I'm like, just enjoy the process. Like it's like getting adults to let go of that control and fear of not getting it right is something I think that we're almost taught, right? And so I know I've done a lot about I've talked before about creativity and how inspiring our creativity can be, but we often are like taught out of it is what some experts say is that sometimes we let go of that creativity because we were told to focus on math or focus on science or focus on whatever, when really like getting back into that creative spark within us is the most empowering thing. But we fear that because we were told, well, there's not intrinsic value in this, or like not there's intrinsic value in it, sorry, but there's not like a monetary value in it. And I would say that there really is, because it feeds your soul, right? So if there is something that you really want to do, then do it, whether there's a monetary value around it or not. Do it because it fills your soul, not because it's going to get you money, but it definitely will fill your soul, so that you can then go out and inspire and vibrate at a higher vibration, so that you can then like just feel happier, right? Sometimes when you do things that are creative, like even being on here is an act of creativity, because we're creating something new, we're creating a new talk, right? And if you're really good at like woodworking or building, like there's creativity in that area of life too. Like there's creativity in everything that's been created by humans. And we often forget about that because we're like, oh, I'm not creative because I don't paint or draw. And I'm like, that's not creativity at all. There's creativity in everything that we do. With there's creativity in music, there's creativity in dance, there's creativity in coding, there's creativity in building video games, there's creativity in building skyscrapers. Those people are infinitely creative, and I believe all of us are infinitely creative, but sometimes our fears will hold us back. So don't let your fears of not being good enough in an area hold you back from something that you really want to do. So Nomza, what's something else that you're like, okay, I want to do this and I'm taking steps toward it, but that there's like been some fears inside me of what pieces I'm not really truly stepping into.
Can you repeat the question, Amanda?
So what is something for you that you're like, okay, this is something I like really want to do, but there's like some fears around it that might be holding you back or keeping you, or you're like, it's not holding me back anymore. I'm taking these steps to get there.
I think taking Gosa talk shows and Hope Spring Eternal Introduction Agency to the next level has been now I do understand, and I don't fear anymore, but I'm realizing that there has been a fear before, like if I'm doing the right thing, or like maybe being afraid of the changes or thinking that I wasn't good enough. But now I understand that I do need to change things, and it was inside of me there's a belief that things will change, and I'm happy, I'm open to all the big changes that God gives it to me, and I'm also willing to do the work, and I'm also willing to actually work on my intelligence and work on my character and just grow and become that person that I am created to be. And I think that is really important. Like Amanda, you said, you see fear in adult. I think that is actually the truth. Actually, if I look at myself, like if I ask my children to do things, they just get on and do it. But for me to do something, I have to find 20 reasons why I cannot do it, or why I need to be perfect. Things needs to be perfect. I need to do this. I need to do that first before I can do this. But now I'm coming to an understanding this mindset where if I need to do something, things needs to be done. There's got to be done, and I do it. I've realized also my character when I make a decision and say I'm going to do this, and I do it. For me, I'm thinking I'm just doing something, but people will be like, "Where did you learn that? Where did you do this?" And I'm like, "I've just taught myself." So I think it is just we have that power within us. I think like what we said from the beginning, Amanda, stop caring what people think and just get on with it. you'll have people that will follow you, or you have people that will want to listen to you. And sometimes you have haters. That's okay. And the most exciting things is to have people haters, people criticizing you. And I think that makes life very exciting. So yeah. So for you, Amanda, I know like so when are we, because we need to hold you accountable for this. When are you like traveling? So what do you think for you to actually because like like we think we need people to travel with us, but we don't because people are already there. So like as a tourist, if you travel somewhere, you'll find other tourists. And some people you might even get along with, or some people they might recommend other people. So now that we are at Ngozi Talk Show, we're talking about stepping into this fear and finding yourself, and you like traveling. So we need to come up with a plan in life, and so we can hold you accountable. So what do you think would be the best plan now that we're talking about stepping out into our fear and finding ourselves, and traveling is something that you love to do. So what can we do to to make
Um,
Amanda enjoy
I
her traveling?
do is like really research it and then research what it is that where I want to go and then how much money I need to save to be able to do it. And then also like what am I going to do along the way so that I really spend some focused time on doing that and sit down with my daughter and really look at where we would like to go. Because I know like even just recently we just went to Vancouver and I haven't been on an airplane in a number of years. So that was something that was like, okay, we can do this. We can go and it'll be really fun. And we had a great time. And we do lots of traveling like around here. Like we're going to Banff in a month and we're going to go to Revelstoke in January to ski, and then we're going to go to Panorama to ski. But I'd like to do more international travel, which I think is something
You
that
were looking for international travel in the end. What happened? Did you book it?
oh, I didn't end up booking it last year. I just there was yeah, there was a couple of things. It had ended doubling in price, but from the time that I looked at it to the time that I was like, okay, maybe we should do this. And then yeah, the person that I wanted to go with, we ended up breaking up. So there was that too. But I was also gonna like go with the kid. I was like, we should go do this and go. It's like not super expensive. And then yeah, I was like, this is not going anywhere. So we're just gonna, but I wanted to like take the kids to it. So yeah, there's definitely things that I'd like to go to, but I also would maybe like some friends to go with, but maybe I just go by myself or go with my daughter. I have a girlfriend who's planning a trip to Europe for the Girl Guides that she guides, and I was like, that's intense. Like taking like 13 girls to Europe with like just one other adult is an intense amount of planning, and I think that really is that just starting to plan and starting to save and starting to put money away maybe in a separate account so that we can go somewhere so that I don't just end up spending it on trips here. Because I'm like, oh, we can just go skiing. Let's just go do that. And I just ski a bunch, right? So yeah, we're doing lots of like local traveling. I just haven't planned any more international travel other than just the little blip that we did to Vancouver and then into the States. But I'd like to go to Europe one day or to Australia or something that we haven't done before.
Yeah, please do guys come one day in the UK. Yeah, do come one day in the UK. That would be really nice if you guys come and visit. And I think also there's timing as well. Like you say, your daughter, she's growing up now, and so you have no excuse as well. So I'll hold you that accountable,
Mhm.
and just just get out there and just do your thing.
Yeah,
Um,
like I have traveled with her to like Mexico before a few times by myself, but that was like a pretty safe, like you fly into the airport, you go straight at the resort, and then you just like relax for a week and then you fly back.
Yeah,
I'm like, I need to do more exploratory travel than that. But she was only like little at the time, like 5, and I'm travel or 4, and I'm traveling by myself with her, right? And so that's net, but I'm like, I don't want to go to resorts and just sit at the resort all week. I want to like go out and explore. And so that's something that I really would like to do more of, but I need her to be bigger for that. Mhm.
yeah. For me, what helps me as well to step out of my comfort zone, if anyone is listening and want to take my ideas, is to actually apply for jobs that I knew that I didn't qualify for. And that sitting down and filling out the application form and telling my story. And when they reply to me and saying, oh, sorry, we had to take those who are qualified, and it just boosted my confidence that the fact that I sent my application and they received it and they read it and they replied to me, and that gives me confidence. And just there's so many things that I had to do. The things that I had to do, I had to look at my fears. Like I will look at what's my fear, and then I'll confront that fear by doing the things that I fear, and like dancing like when everybody else, if we go into a party, even though I'm a musician, if we go to a party, either musicians can confirm this, just because you're a musician, it doesn't mean your confidence. Sometimes in order for you to go and dance, when you actually go to a party, you have to wait for others to come and follow you and stuff. So I had to learn to actually, when everybody else, like if I go, there's 600 people, 300 people, when everybody else is sitting down, if one music that I like plays, I just go on stage and dance and smile. And when I'm doing it, I'm just doing it for myself. I'm not doing it for anybody. And if I go out, if I the restaurant they serve me meal that is not cooked or hot chocolate that is not hot, I will just go and say, excuse me, could you please? But before I would just eat it and I'll be complaining and eat it. So it's just little things that helps that people take for granted. Like, yeah, it's not big things, it's just those tiny things that it helps you to actually find yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, it's those.
Anything you want to recommend, Amanda, for our audience?
What do you mean about like being fearful of telling the waitress that you didn't get what you want, and then being able to eventually like just
Have
like
you done that as well?
well, yeah, like because I'm a vegetarian, I'm like always I'm like, okay, like no meat or whatever. And then there's been some times where like they come out and there's meat on it, and I'm like, I can't even pick around that. That's like, you have to like so like yeah, there's definitely been times where I just like would just eat around it and like not complain. And but there has like now I just am like, no, you didn't listen because I clearly like said I'm a vegetarian, and so please take.
Yeah, can I please have my food because I'm paying for it? Just be polite and just say, excuse me. May I
Yeah.
just can you just, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I hope that there's something, whether it's like writing a book or starting a podcast or going on a trip, whatever it is that you're feeling fearful of, like go step into your power and begin whatever step it is. And I'm gonna start some research on where I want to go. Maybe not this year, but next year for sure, somewhere big. Because we have a lot of trips planned this year. We're going, like I said, we're going to Banff, we're going to Revelstoke, we're going to Panorama, and then we're doing one to like either Jasper or Kamloops to ski. So I've got a lot of ski trips planned this year, which will be eating up the majority of my money because we bought these passes to ski all over. And so yeah, that's what we're gonna do this year. But next year I'll plan maybe an international one or maybe in the summer.
Any words of encouragement, Amanda, before we go?
Yeah, just step into that power. Think, really sit with yourself on what it is that you're fearing, and then step into that power and go. Just begin. Take that class, start that podcast, write the first page of your book, whatever it is.
Yeah, for me is lean into discomfort and build a support system and celebrate your small wins and learn from setbacks because not everything that we do is gonna go smooth. But I find that when we have setbacks or mountains that are presented to us, it means the breakthrough is just around the corner. So, yeah, just step out there and just do your thing, walk in your own lane. And don't worry about people because people will always criticize and also like LinkedIn, most of the time I have people from LinkedIn actually that motivates me. Every now and then, different people will drop messages and say, Nomsa, I don't think I can do what you do, the dedication with the talk show. Keep up the hard work. And honestly, they just drop messages in Facebook as well and social media. Yeah, the people do. So maybe just be a leader to somebody else.
You know how many episodes you've done now?
Yeah, we can check on YouTube is counting for us.
Yeah, like you've done just consistency, right?
Over
These
1,000, we've done over 1,000 something.
biggest thing is about consistency, right? And just
Yeah, and we
yeah.
we do show up for ourselves, for our audience, and for ourselves as well. So yeah,
Mhm.
and well done to you guys as well, because you're just that, and I'm just praying for the success. Now
Mhm.
I'm like God, I just don't want no negotiations with the success. I just need it. Just give it to us. We've been waiting for a long time. So, guys, if you're watching us from YouTube or Facebook or any social media, please do share our video and please do go to the website is www.hseia.coach is on all our social media and just message us for coaching or if you're looking for love. And we have two groups in Gosse Talk Shows and Unique Billionaire Mindset and be part of the family. Join the groups and be part of us. God bless everyone and live with grace.